Hi, everyone. Well, thank you very much for the introduction. And yeah, as Ola already said, I'm the founder of a company called Fast Forward Imaging, but that's not actually going to be the main point of this talk. Actually, where is Jan? Maybe you could just jump up and wave. There's Jan Wegner over there. I'll come back to what we do together in a minute, but what I would really like to kick off with is the question of the future of fashion retail. Now, who out of every one of you has been shopping in the last 7 days? Please raise a hand. Now, if you think back to the experience you had, was it a good experience or was it a bad experience? And this is going to be a little bit it might feel a little esoteric, but please shut your eyes for a second and think back to the best shopping experience you've ever had in your life. This could be online, offline, whatever it might be. You could have been out in a bazaar somewhere, or you could have just found the perfect item of clothing online and ordered it, and it was there in a whiff and everything like that. So it is going to be a very individual and very unique experience for each of you. There's a lovely quote from a science fiction author called William Gibson. The future is already here, it's just not evenly distributed yet. If you think about what is actually possible in technology these days, and then you think about what your shopping experience is like, there's a bit of a gap there, I would say. I mean, basically, a few weeks ago, I gave a talk on the rise of artificial intelligence and what it is going to do to our society. A lot of scientists are actually convinced that computer intelligence will surpass human intelligence within less than 100 years from now. Some of them actually are quite sure it's going to be in 50 years or less. So within our lifetime, we can assume that there's a chance our own intellect is going to be surpassed by artificial synthetic intelligences. At the same time, we still use processes, and we provide our clients with shopping experiences that are still very traditional, you could say. So let's look at shopping. Shopping went from offline to online, and I'll just group that with mobile for this case. What are the benefits of offline shopping? We talk about curation. I go to a beautiful boutique, people have picked collections for me, and this, as I said, beautiful boutique gives me a lovely environment to shop in, and I have, ideally, a sales assistant who helps me and consults me on my choices. For me, I'm a girl, so I really like the instant gratification of shopping offline, so I can actually take the beautiful things that I buy with me and take them home with me. Now, if we look at online shopping, we talk about choice. It's limitless global choice of products. I can compare things online really well, so I have transparency about price points, etc. And it's convenient because it's open 24/7. But we're talking about delayed gratification, which doesn't make me very happy, to be perfectly honest. So we could say that an offline shopping experience is a more emotional experience, while online is a very practical and thus more of a rational choice. The interesting question is, how can we combine those two experiences into something that really works? The most successful retailers in the next 5 years will be the ones that actually manage to merge those experiences into a really integrated concept, and that manage to capture the best of both worlds. That will give you an emotional context, that will give you choice, consultation, at least to a degree, and high convenience. Let's think about who is actually trying to achieve that kind of thing already. For instance, Kate Spade opened some pop-up shops in New York, where basically they didn't actually have a shop, they only had a shop window that used augmented reality to enable people to actually buy from that shop window. In the UK, Waitrose allows you to order items of food online during the day, and they will be delivered to cooled boxes, like big locker boxes, basically, that have a cooling system installed at the train station that you get on or off your train as a commuter. So basically, you don't even have to go to the shop to pick the stuff up. You can order it online, and you will actually be able to pick it up as you go home on the same day. I think, generally speaking, logistics systems are going to be an extremely important factor in the next few years to really make sure that people have an optimum experience. Now, I have to quickly check back whether we have a little video that I brought along and we can play that. Yes, great. Could we have that on screen, please? Could we cut the sound? Thank you. I'll just tell you a little bit about what we're seeing here. Basically, we were working on a collaboration with an augmented reality provider to check out different options of what augmented reality can do. And so basically you have, on screen you can see it here, you can kind of, through an optical tracker, you can display different items and things like that. You can work with facial recognition. That's actually really interesting. That's actually quite scary, to be perfectly honest. So imagine you walk by a shop window and there's a hidden camera, like in this case, that actually recognizes your gender and your age. And it will actually, the shop window will then be able to display advertising that works specifically for you. What we see on screen right now is a little video of an augmented reality app for a fashion company. So basically, you can show a panorama view of your store, and then you can click on individual items, showcase those in 360 degrees. You can actually give additional information about the items, etc., etc. So you can actually bring your own in-store experience onto any kind of mobile device, which is very interesting, I think. I'm coming back to that quote because think about it. Technology has advanced further than we would have ever imagined. At the same time, a lot of processes, especially in the fashion industry, are still very traditional. So how can you actually use technology that's out there? I mean, those augmented reality examples that I just showed you, the content that we were providing for this app, that is still fairly basic technology stuff. So, for instance, what we do, and I was actually planning to show one of our machines here, but there was a slight logistical hiccup about the size of the elevator. Basically, we help companies, e-commerce companies or brands, to capture more images so that they can actually provide their shoppers with a richer experience of their products. Working together with more models and their e-shop mannequins, we can actually provide much better image material, and we actually work on improving these mannequins as well at the same time. Stuff like these augmented reality apps is not rocket science, and it's not stuff that costs you billions. It's actually, the technology has been developed long enough ago that it's actually not that expensive anymore. And this kind of thing gets developed by large corporate players that spend a lot of money on it, but then it becomes available to everyone else at a much lower cost. I would suggest that everyone who's interested in finding out a little bit more about my technology and about Jan's fashion mannequins comes and visits me at we have a little kind of stand out there. If someone's interested, we can also organize a small shuttle trip to our studio to actually show one of the machines. It was a bit of a shame that I couldn't bring it, but there you go. As I was saying, technology has come very, very far. But what you always have to bear in mind is that whenever you look at a technology development, it's usually carried out in a small niche, and it goes very in depth. The interesting question is, how can you actually bridge the gaps between different companies, and how can you collaborate so that you share your knowledge with other players, so you can actually create perfect experiences. It doesn't necessarily have to come out of one specific company that offers you everything. The interesting question is, can you mix and match? There are so many development companies out there, so many interesting startups as well, that really create wonderful products, wonderful experiences, that if you look a little bit further and if you come up with your own concepts, you can actually create really great experiences for your customers without breaking the bank and just by really working with a number of different players. And I would really like to close with that. Let's not think about gadgets. Let's not try and be super focused on having to have the latest and hottest. It's really about you deciding what kind of experience you want to give your customers and carrying that out. The customer should be at the core of that consideration. I know how tempting it is to fall in love with your own brand and just roll out everything without actually really caring about the consumer. But that is really what we should all aim at. So thank you very much, and maybe there are some questions.